Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I wanted to show you my content calendar within Notion. So I'm a marketing executive and one of my biggest responsibilities is social media management. And I found that I couldn't quite find somewhere where I could effectively plan, but more importantly, get a nice overview, like a visually pleasing one, of all of the content that I had scheduled and even content in the past. But luckily, I've now been able to build that with Notion. So not to brag, but I'd like to show it to you. Now, I want to put a big disclaimer on this. I am not the biggest expert with Notion, far from it, in fact. But I think that's quite a good thing because the system that I've got is really straightforward and I feel like anyone should be able to use it. I mean, if you can't use it, it's definitely a you problem. There's not a lot I can do for you if you can't use this. But anyway, let's jump straight into it and have a look. Right guys, so here we are inside Notion, and like I said, basically the coolest feature for me and the most useful is just having this lovely overview of all of the content I have got planned, I've got coming up. So just at a glance I can see, for example here I might think, oh, 2 days without a post, is that okay? Should I schedule something for Saturday, for instance? And it's just nice to see all of this content, regardless of where it's scheduled or what it is, in one clean view. So obviously Notion is way more than just a calendar. And one of the cool things, as you can see, I've already done a little test there and I'll show you another one. So if I come in here, 2nd of December, I can just click the plus button and I can then start drafting up a post. So if I just go test post, for example, I should probably delete this property. So these are called properties. It's basically just to assign myself. If you're working in a team, it's obviously quite useful to assign multiple people. But I leave it there because I like looking at the logo. It makes me feel a bit more professional. It's stupid. I'll delete it. Okay, I hear you. Don't worry. Then the status. Obviously, this is just an idea as it's in its infancy. And then when it moves through the process, you can set different stages, which I'll come on to in a bit later. But that's a really cool thing that's going to help us out later. Link. If I'm doing a blog post, for example, I'll pop that in there. Platform, obviously, platforms, social media platforms, really useful for me because LinkedIn is basically useful because of LinkedIn, because we don't always post the same content on LinkedIn as we would on Facebook or Twitter. So I can filter by content that's just on LinkedIn. A lot of the content is on all three, but some of it's not because some of it's a bit more casual and wouldn't really put that out to a LinkedIn audience. Type of post, this is good for, again, come on to it later, everything later. But for now, you can see the different types of posts that I would do. So a product post, a feature post, a blog post, a share, for example. Sometimes I put them in there if they're significant enough. So I can just see at a glance what kind of posts I'm doing. And then scheduled with. Now, this is important because we're a bit frugal with our marketing budget, with how we do things, I guess. So we don't pay for any of the paid plans for like Buffer or Hootsuite, for example. And then that obviously limits us on the amount of posts we can do. But a way around that is just to use a lot of the accounts. But then that obviously means that you've got stuff in different places, and just to stop me going insane. And if I come in and think, for example, come out here and think, oh gosh, this blog post, something's come up and I can't post it now, for example. I can come in, I go, right, okay, where's that? That was just done with a default scheduler. So inside of Twitter, Facebook, for example, so I can just go and delete that. Anyway, back to our test. And the final thing I'd touch on is the time posted. Obviously you set your publication date, but we've set that to the 2nd December. Time posted, I just like to have that so I can vary the times I'm doing my posts, and then I can look back and think, okay, what posts have done well? Is that dependent on the time? It's just a nice bit of information to have. And then templates within posts. It's not something I use too extensively. I've got this new post thing where it kind of just spits up me a kind of a template so I can pop in my social media copy variations. Like I said, mine's very basic. You can do way more with it, but I don't really use it because I don't need it for that much. But anyway, let's have a look at another feature that I find really cool. So another feature that I really like, and I use quite a lot, is the filter option. So what the filter option is really good for is filtering out things that you don't want to see at that point in time. So a use case for me is that I include my email marketing efforts, so my kind of newsletters, in the content calendar. Now, you might think that's a stupid idea. You might be saying, Luke, why are you doing that? You shouldn't be including emails in a social media content calendar. I hear you, but for me, it just makes sense because I like to sort of group the content that's going into the emails and the social media posts. But a lot of the time, I don't want to see them. I just want to see what we've got going on in social media. So I can use the filters, and I can add a filter. And like I said earlier about the posts being on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, I've got a fourth option, which is email. So I can come in and say the platform does not contain email. And just like magic, all of my emails are gone. So it actually exposes me a bit and shows you that kind of the last 6 days I was a bit rubbish. I was just snowed under, so forgive me. But yeah, it gets rid of all of them and it cleans up the view so I can just look at all of the social media posts that I've been doing. Now, filters are really, really good for getting rid of things. But if you want to find specific things, I would just use the search bar because it's much, much easier. So everyone knows what a search bar does. But Notions is really, really intuitive. So I'll come in here and, for example, if I want to find blog posts that I've done. So I tag all of the things by what they are. So like I showed you earlier, blog posts. So I can just type blog post or even blog. And there we go. Notion showing me all of the posts that are blogs. And so there's 3 of them. So, okay, that's a good amount. I'm happy with that. So that's really, really good. But another thing that's really, really cool is all of my posts are in here. And as you can see, some are scheduled, but some are only ideas. So at a glance, it might be a little bit harder to see that. So what I can just do is type idea. So obviously I've got the test post that I was just playing around with earlier, but this video here, this quadral video, I can see that that is scheduled for Sunday, or I at least intend to have it on Sunday, but it's still an idea. So I need to actually action that. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen on that Sunday. So that's a really good way of just quickly filtering out content. And the final thing on just this calendar view here that I really, really like and I utilize quite a bit is this no date button up here. So it shows you posts in the system that do not have a date. And I'll show you how to add them later. But obviously, if something doesn't have a date, it can't go into a calendar. So what you can do is you can just tap that button. Oh, it moved. Tap that button. And you can see all of the posts, like I said, without a date. And what that's really good for is I'm just looking and I go, oh, right, Saturday the 4th of December. I really need a post. What can I do? First port of call, the no date view. Actually, this heating FAQs blog, that would be perfect for me. So there's 2 ways of adding it. I can just click on it. And what that would do is add it to the day that we're currently on. And you could just drag it down. Or if we come in and just clear the date quickly, I could just go to the no date view, click view on the post, and then I can just assign it a date. So Saturday the 4th of December, we said. Great. And then it's in there. And then if I use my search again, I can see it's an idea and something needs to be done with it. So it's just kind of a whole comprehensive system. So this is obviously the calendar view that we've spent a lot of time looking at. But it's not the only view that I've got in this kind of system. So I can come up here and rather than be on the launch calendar, go to by status. Now, what this allows me to do is to see the ideas broke down by status. So it's kind of similar to what I was talking about earlier in terms of seeing what still needs action. So these are all of the ideas. So if I just want to work on the ideas rather than filtering in the calendar as what's still got idea tagged to it, I can literally exclusively work with this view here. So I can see these 8 posts are still ideas. So what I can do is work on them and then I can drag them across the stages from ideas to in progress to scheduled or published or even on hold. And that's just a great way of keeping your workflow kind of streamlined and knowing exactly what you should and shouldn't be working on. Now, as you'll see with a couple of these posts, and I just got rid of the date on the heating post that we'd added in earlier, some of them don't have dates on them. So a couple of the on hold ones don't have dates. And like I said, I deleted the date on the heating post because it didn't have one. And this is where the posts exist for that no date button. So that's where you can find them, and this is where you can add them in. So if you want to create a new page in here, I can test, and you can open it up if you want to, and add in the relevant things. And this is where I bulk add all of my ideas before they're really anything. Just off the top of my head, okay, it'd be cool if I could do a post on this new lighting protocol we've got coming out, or I could do a post on, do you know what I mean? Just brainstorming quickly, and I don't need to put too much effort into it. Then they're all there and I can go in and tag them relevantly, but that just allows you to quickly kind of capture everything that you're thinking of. Another really cool view, so this is a status view. Another view I want to talk about is the publish view. So this just shows me in reverse order, so from my oldest post, and as you can see, I've been using this system for over a year now, it shows me all of the scheduled posts that I've had. And what this allows me to do is kind of steal creativity from myself. So if any of you work with social media, you'll know that really after a certain point, a lot of your ideas are recycled, not copied, but you take the original idea and you tweak it. and especially with business social medias, I don't think that there's anything wrong with posting a certain product or feature over and over again, obviously over a period of time, but just because you posted it once a year ago doesn't mean you shouldn't post about it again. So yeah, I know I'm rambling a bit, but what this basically allows me to do is just, if I go, oh yeah, that gym blog was really good. Do you know what? That was in December last year. I could probably just post that again now. Obviously, I'd tweak the copy, maybe tweak a few of the visuals, but it just allows you to steal creativity from yourself. So this is something that I would recommend anyone who works with social media or any sort of content production definitely does. And then finally, the final view I want to talk about is this analytics view. Now, this is a new view for me. I haven't been working with it for that long, but it's the Kanban view again, but it's broken down by the product type. And really, I mean, I've got loads of different product types, but these are the main ones here: products, features, blog posts, use cases, and videos. And it just at a glance allows me to see, because I get the number there, how I'm kind of like breaking down my posts. And so you can see here, I'm doing double the amount of blogs and really like the next best thing. So that lets me know that maybe I should tweak back on blogs, but should I really? Because they're doing quite well for us. It just gives me that sort of overview of content that I'm putting out, so I can be aware of what I am maybe doing too much, what I'm doing too little. And also this is a great way of kind of touching on what I just spoke about with the publish view, stealing creativity. If I know, for example, I specifically want a blog, so I could just come in, this DVTK video, blog, sorry, was really good. When did I do that? June. Okay, maybe I have to wait a few months, maybe I could do it now, but it just allows you to steal by category, really. So you may be thinking, how can I get a calendar like this? Luke, I'm sure you spent years making this and you've spent every waking hour constructing this perfect system. But the truth is, it is really just the default one. So if you come into the templates over here and you come into content calendar, under marketing, you can just use this template. Now, obviously, I've done a lot to tweak it to my satisfaction, but the basis of the content calendar is there, and then you can tweak it to however you need, adding the properties you need, adding the views you need. And Notion makes it really easy for you to learn that stuff and has really nice kind of pop-ups and informative messages. So don't be scared if you've never used Notion before. It's really easy. I would recommend just coming in here, whacking the content calendar into your Notion and having a play around and see what works for you. So overall, I think it's clear to see that there's definitely more I could be doing in Notion, but I've got the content calendar to a point where I'm really happy with it. It's got a lot of features that I use on a day-to-day basis, and they really help me essentially do my job better. And that's all you can really ask for from a content calendar. If you are watching this and you know of something that I could implement or some features I could pop in that would make it even better, or if there's something obvious that I've missed, I'm sure it's very possible, please do leave me a comment, because I'd absolutely love to hear it. I'm always up for like tinkering in Notion and seeing what works and what doesn't. But I think that was a good gist of everything in the content calendar, and I hope you got something useful out of it. So I'll stop rambling on now, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.